What is up? Welcome into the second ever Roughing the Kicker live stream. I'm Tucker Franklin. Joining me for this live stream is Jordan Foote. We finally got it figured out where we can get both of us on the live stream at the same time. Let us know in the chat if you got any problems. Hit us up in the chat if you got any questions. This is an Ask Us Anything. So, you know what that means. Ask away, ask the questions. Jordan, how you doing, my man?
Tucker, I'm good, dude. I'm pretty excited. I'm glad you're handling all the technological stuff because it sounds pretty complex, but I'm glad to be here, dude.
I'm glad that you're here. It's a lot better talking to somebody than nobody, just talking to my computer screen. I like that a whole lot. I already see people in the chat saying I was probably getting a LaCroix ready. I would have, but I'm out of LaCroix. So that's why I got me a Diet Coke here, but I also got a water bottle on standby. You never know. Never know. Got to be ready for anything when you do these streams. So appreciate y'all tuning in. We got 14 concurrent viewers right now. Love to see it. I've changed my setup since the last time that we've done a live stream, and it's way more conducive to doing live streams. Jordan, I've sent Jordan a few pictures of it actually. My monitor used to be above my laptop, but I moved it now to the right. So if you see me looking over to the right, that's to me looking over at the chat. I'm not like ignoring you guys or ignoring Jordan. That's just me looking at the chat. Holly, shout out. Appreciate you. This layout, it did take me a while to figure out what we were going to do for a two-man layout. But I think it looks good. It's really concurrent with the videos of that whole theme. So I know, Jordan, you can't really see it. I guess you have the live stream up in front of you. But, yeah, I appreciate the love. Devin Albertson, shout out. Hey, Kansas City Chiefs. Yes, sir. Hit that like button. Let's hit 100 likes today. Appreciate you guys. So, Jordan, how has your weekend been? I know it's Saturday, but how have you been?
It's been going, man.
Yeah.
Hopefully none of my teachers are watching this. I had a paper that was due. Yeah, I had a paper that was due on Friday night, or I guess Friday afternoon, and no one did it. So I spent my Friday night and then woke up super early Saturday. I've been up. So it's in the chat. One of them is from DDDD. Humphrey at 31 is a big reach. I'm gonna let you give your 2 cents on that first.
Man, I go back and forth about Creed Humphrey because I think he's a good athlete, but I don't know if he has that anchoring ability that you want as a center. Obviously, I don't know how much that can be taught, but I guess it can be taught, especially with Andy Heck as an offensive line guru. I like that question. I think about Creed Humphrey a lot. I think about what the Chiefs are going to do at 31 a lot, and I'm not 100% sure if it's. Because I think he goes in the 40s, so I don't think it's a reach necessarily. Really, if you're picking up in the NFL draft, it's a lot different than your fantasy drafts at home. You know, if you're picking a guy 10 slots ahead of where he's slotted in fantasy, that's considered a reach. But like in the NFL draft, it's not really considered a reach all that much. So I don't know. What do you think about that, Jordan?
I don't think it's a at all. He's a really intelligent player. He tested way better athletically than I thought he was going to. I was a member of that. He just didn't jump out on tape as any kind of backpedaling sets or anything, or really held his own at the line. He's a strong guy, a sound fundamental player, and like if the Chiefs can get their center of the future at 31, I'm fine with that, whether it be Landon or Creed Humphrey, or if they wait a little bit for a Drake Jackson or a Kendrick Green or something. I think Austin Blythe really makes it to where they don't need to draft that guy early, and really they probably shouldn't reach for year one need anyway. But to answer the initial question, I don't think it's a big reach. I mean, it's not a home run of a pick, but I think it's still.
Yeah. Man, Jordan, there's something going on here. I'm still very new, remember, to this whole streaming game, and you got resized. Remember when I was telling you this, we were doing this?
I see that, yeah.
And it just popped up as you got resized here. So I'll fix it. I'll keep an eye on it. If it happens again, let us know. But I do like that. I really don't want the Chiefs to reach for a need. And I want them to take a best player available, whether that is an offensive lineman, whether it is anything else like that. An edge would be good too. Let's look here. Pie Desert. He asked, first question, what are Saturdays for? They're for the boys, man. Saturdays are for the boys. Shout out my girlfriend Tara. She actually just got off work. She texted me. That's who I was texting. So you might see me text her here and again. We're supposed to be going out. My parents are out camping, and we're gonna go.
Wow.
Yeah, we're gonna go eat burgers and brats with them here in a little bit. So big dinner plans for us. So we got to get that sorted out there. Devin Albertson says, I listened to Friday's pod. Had to get Chick-fil-A. You know what? So did Jordan. After Friday's pod, after we recorded it, he went and got Chick-fil-A because we had another call with Denny at the NFL Mock Draft Database just talking about some stuff, some improvements with the site and everything like that. We got to keep under the wraps, though. But he went and got Chick-fil-A and ate it just before our meeting. So you're not the only one that had to go get Chick-fil-A. And this question here from the Kansas City Chiefs, not the actual account, but your thoughts on D-Rob saying he could be a receiver that can put up 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns. Jordan, what do you think about that?
Man, quickly, I have a confession. I had Chick-fil-A again on Friday night, so it was a back-to-back thing. Or I guess no, because we recorded Wednesday for the Friday pod, right? Uh-huh. So it was twice in 3 nights. But my brother last night was like, does Chick-fil-A sound good? And like, I would never go out of my way to have that 2 out of 3 days, but I was like, nah, whatever, let's do it. So I kind of have a problem now, I think you could say. But man, I think that's just confidence. Like, you don't want him to say, oh, I want another 500 yard, I want another D-Rop. I want people to make fun of me this year. I want to run backwards. Like, he's going to say that he wants to do well, especially with Mahomes back. And with the Chiefs, like, if Patrick Mahomes is your quarterback, you want to automatically do well. If you are presented an opportunity, you want to do well for him, you want to do well for your teammates, you want to do well for yourself. Like, he's going to put you in a good position to succeed. The Chiefs don't have an X receiver right now. I mean, I guess it's Demarcus Robinson do with free agency and the draft. Like, washed at the wide receiver position now. I mean, there's not much out there for the Chiefs to kind of think. I think it's pretty cool.
I mean, you gotta have goals, and I guess with Patrick Mahomes, anything's possible, right? So when you think about it like that, if he's gonna do it with a quarterback, it's gonna be with Patrick Mahomes, especially in this season when you don't have Sammy Watkins, when it looks like he might be the X wide receiver. So I don't hate it at all. Like you mentioned, that's kind of like a confidence thing. You want your guys to have confidence. I think that's kind of a big pick, a big boat of confidence in Demarcus Robinson. The D-Rop is kind of funny thing. You said that and I was like, oh,
it's so bad.
It's bad, but like it's like, dang, that's like pretty good. Like I wish I was the person that came up with that. But Gary Holland, he asked if the Chiefs take O-line with the 31st pick, who do you like? And Gary, we talk about the offensive line a lot on the podcast. It might as well just be called Offensive Line, a Kansas City Chiefs podcast. Not roughing the kicker because
roughing the offensive.
Right, essentially, because man, we talk about the offensive line all the time. But Liam Eichenberg is a guy that we both like. I kind of have a hard time, talking about Liam Eichenberg now that his coach just absolutely buried him, right? And you're just like, man, like why did Brian Kelly go out here and say he's a right tackle? The Chiefs need a left tackle. His arms were a bit shorter, right? They were like 30. Did they make it to 33 or are they 32 and something?
I think it was less than 33. Like it was
rough. I think tough. It was Let me think what else we got there at the offensive tackle. Spencer Brown is a guy I really like. Connor made like a little Twitter thread about Spencer Brown. I do think that that is a little bit rich for Spencer Brown at 31. He's probably 63. He would be there, but I don't like banking on guys being there, right? Dylan Redunz is another guy that I think he's only at 33 inch arm.
It was going to be me. I know talk about tackle length or arm length. Huge obstacle for us personally, but we've never played NFL. The Chiefs are the ones drafting, so it does make it a lot more difficult I think, for them to find the tackle that they want. I still think Eichenberg is my ideal pick at 31 just because I would know what the Chiefs are getting. The Chiefs would know what they're getting. Right, if you're good,
Yeah.
that's a good reason to be drafted. So I think he's also a guy that can step in and play week one. And that they plan on it or are going to, but they haven't done it so far. So there are options out there that the best player available approach is still kind of what they should try to do.
Yeah, I think that that's kind of what they have to do, especially with them sitting at 31. That's kind of a big thing because they can't really dictate who's in front of them. So Taylor
Yeah.
Grant, this is another question. He said, "If you already got to this, sorry, but I want Tevon Jenkins now badly. What would we have to give up to go get him? I'm afraid that Vegas will snatch him." I mean,
I don't know about Tevin. Like is rising up draft boards a lot. Like he has the measurables. He is kind of the darling of the draft at the tackle
mhm.
class right now, or the tackle position. He's just a good football player, and he has the mean streak. I mean, he has likable qualities about him. It's going to be rough, I think. Like, I'm not expecting him to be there at 30. Barrett Tucker going to the Raiders at 16 or 17 or wherever they're picking. I think he does, but on the other side of it,
Right.
Sewell's and Darisaws and the Slaters and all that stuff, it's something to think about.
It is for sure, and I do like Tevin Jenkins. He's a nasty guy. He's got a good little tackle. He's a right tackle at Oklahoma State, and I think he played a little bit of left tackle. So we'll see how he goes. I think Vegas is probably gonna go somewhere else. I think they probably go a little bit like AVT is what we see a lot in the simulations that we run. Um, and I think that that's kind of where they're gonna have several players to pick from. They're
Mm-hmm.
in that little stretch there in the draft where it's gonna be like a run on these tackles, and that's gonna be something that we have to watch for because I think the Chargers are in there too,
Yeah.
where they're gonna probably take Darisaw or they're
Mm-hmm.
gonna take Slater, and that's gonna make me a little upset that we get to see an up close view of those guys. Now I'm not saying I don't want the Chiefs to trade up for them. It's
Yeah.
just kind of crazy that that's gonna be what we have to see for a while. So yes, that's what we got here. Looking at the chat here, yeah, I think we are having a little bit of technical difficulties. For some reason, it was having a hard time. I don't know what the right word was, but for a second there, it cut out because the encoding rate was too high. I had to lower some resolution, so apologies if the stream quality is a little less. But to get the stream out there, that's what we're doing right now. This is another one from Taylor Gant. He says, "Would Zaven piss anyone off at 31?" Yes, it would piss both of us off. There's a video on our YouTube channel about it, actually, if you want to go see our opinions on it, because I don't want to get upset about a linebacker 31 right now. I already did yesterday, and I don't feel like doing it again. So we'll move on from that and say yes. And Kansas City Chiefs, they ask us, what round would you trade for Orlando Brown? Listen, I wouldn't trade for Orlando Brown. He's not a scheme fit. He's a right tackle. I know he wants to play left tackle, but he's a right tackle in a power run scheme when it's literally the exact opposite of the Kansas City Chiefs. If I'm the Baltimore Ravens, I'm not going to give the Kansas City Chiefs the piece that they most need. Why from a competitive
Yeah.
standpoint, why would you do that? I just don't think that makes any sense. I know there's been a lot of people pounding on the table for it, but I just can't see it happening. And I know a lot of the reasoning was, well, anyone's for sale for any price. There's still a competitive factor, right? I mean, the Chiefs are the Ravens' boogeyman, essentially, in the AFC.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're just going to say, all right, have the one player that you need the most and have one of our guys. It gives me weird vibes. I don't like it. I don't think it'd be able to be pulled off. And if it does happen, it's probably after the draft, much like the tackle signings will be post May 5. All of that will probably happen. Did you want to add anything to Orlando Brown, or do you think I covered it?
Well, you covered a lot of it. I mean, look, man, Orlando Brown is a good football player. He's going to be a good football player whether he's in Baltimore or with another team. But if you're asking him to get into a vertical pass set with Patrick Mahomes taking deep drops in Kansas City 25 times a game plus, I mean, if he has some normal ones, then great. But I'm with you. He's not a great scheme fit. I don't want the Chiefs to give up a ton of picks for a player like that. They would have to pay him, which obviously they didn't care about potentially paying Trent Williams or whatever they were going to do. But I don't love it. And like if the Chiefs were on the market for a right tackle and Orlando Brown was on the board or on the table or whatever, and they didn't have to give up a ton. But there are so many things to consider. He's a good football player. He's going to continue to be good. He's young. He's valuable. But to the Chiefs, I'm not 100% sold on that.
Yeah, I think he might get traded just because, you see that unhappy people being unhappy. Trent Brown was one of them in New England, who got traded for literally like a box of Cracker Jacks essentially. Gary asked us about Zaven Collins. Yeah, I think he's a good football player. Don't get me wrong. I do think he's a good football player, but we're gonna get the Willie Gay experience for a second year in a row, and you don't want that from your number one pick. Just rubs me the wrong way to draft somebody at 31 and then have them sit for a whole year. I understand that you drafted Patrick Mahomes at number 10, right? And had him sit for a year. I get that, but that's different. Like, that's quarterback. Yeah. A lot of these positions, when you're drafting a first-round guy, you kind of expect him to at least contribute in their first year. Really, first and second-round guys. I was kind of surprised we didn't see Willie Gay as much as we thought we were going to. But Zaven Collins, did you take a look at Zaven Collins at all? Did you take a look at linebackers in your 100 for a 100?
Yeah, I have like 10 of them, but they were all like I kind of eliminated first and second round prospects outside of like Pete Werner because the Chiefs don't need to do that right now. And especially guys like Zaven, I mean, they just don't have a need for that. Now, Zaven is one hell of a football player. I like him a lot, and I think he's going to be a really good pro, but I don't think that future is going to be in KC.
So Jermaine Simpson, he asked us if Terrence Marshall is there at 31, what percentage do you put on the Chiefs selecting him? Man, I'm not huge on Terrence Marshall, so that probably means the Chiefs are going to pick him, right? So I think that's probably what's going to happen. I don't know. I'm just not.
I'd say 5.
You think 5? I think
maybe like.
I think
7.
It's higher than we think it is. I think that they. Well, I don't know.
You have to think about how many other players are going to be on. Like, what if they have 8 guys on their board that, but then again, I guess you're picking 1 out of 8 and that's what 12.5% or whatever. But I just hope the Chiefs don't fall in love with Marshall Jr. And like, I know that people listening, I know Liam, if he's still tuned in, he likes Marshall Jr. a lot. He has the size and the long speed to do it, but I think there's more to it than size and long speed. And there are guys later in the draft that have that aren't getting first round talks. He has some impressive reps on tape, but I'm just not 100% sold on him doing it on an every down basis. Now, I hope I'm wrong. Like, that's the thing with the draft. Like, if I don't love players, I hope they prove me wrong. I hope they are absolute beasts at the NFL level. It doesn't mean I'm hating on them, but just based on what I've seen, I think that the fit with the Chiefs kind of goes starts and ends with that size and that long speed, like being a vertical threat.
Yeah, for sure. Shout out Andrew Armstrong. Good afternoon to you. My weekend is going well. Hope yours is going well too, Andrew. Appreciate y'all out there. Chase says, don't be surprised if the Chiefs draft offensive tackle Spencer Brown at 63. I don't think that's surprise. I wouldn't be surprised by that at all. I like it. I like Spencer Brown a lot. I can't remember his arm length. I think it's just like a quarter of an inch short or something like that. I think he's at 33 or 34.
It was pretty solid.
He's around there. He's ballpark, but I think that will be good. Liam already said, hey, my guy, is it Terrace Wallace, right? Or is it Tierras?
Terrace
Wallace. Oh, there's no
Yeah.
A. So I knew somebody. I went to like FCA camp when I was like in high school, and there was a kid who played for. Oh, excuse me. He played for Memphis. His name was Tierras Wallace. And I went to FCA camp with
Huh.
him, and I always thought the name Tierras was really cool. And I'd never seen it again, never seen it since. But he played for Memphis. He was running back for him for a little bit. Um, so Liam already, he's already in there. Jordan knows. Gary Holland, another question from him. Is there any free agents out there you guys would like the Chiefs to sign? Yeah, Alejandro Villanueva or Russell Okung. Those are the two at
Yeah.
this point. Uh, it's
KJ Wright is like a slim,
yeah.
like I'd be cool if they signed him or whatever, but like really, I think it starts and ends with the two you mentioned. Like the Chiefs don't have a ton of other needs, and like T.Y. Hilton was at least a little bit intriguing in terms of a guy who can get open on underneath routes. Like he obviously doesn't have anywhere near the same player. Um, the receiver market I don't really like, but I mean, if the Chiefs did get a left tackle after the left, I'd be totally fine with that. I think that everybody would. Um, the market has some guys out there. I tweeted I wouldn't really care if the Chiefs got Richard Sherman. I know they don't run a cover three city. I know they're big on physical press man corners. I think Richard Sherman could adjust and do that at this stage of his career. I think it would be interesting to see. He really backs down from a challenge. I think he's really smart. I think it'd be cool. I'm not saying it's a hand in glove fit, but I think when you can get someone like Richard Sherman for a year, you kind of make that fit.
Mhm.
And it would keep L'Jarius Sneed in the slot. But really, it's Villanueva and Okung. It's got to be those two.
Yeah, I think that's it. And Liam asked, kind of still stick to go back to the draft. He asked us, do you think they could take a risk and pick Leatherwood at 31 just due to his length and size, even though he has slow footwork? And I think that's totally on the table. Um, I
Hmm.
think the length will be bigger than a lot of people think. As Jordan mentioned already
Yeah.
earlier in the stream, to us, arm length might not matter as much, but if you look back at Andy Reid's history, it matters to him, man. I mean, if his average arm length of a tackle is 34 and a quarter, that means something. I mean, that's not nothing there. So I wouldn't be surprised if they take him as a project. He's gonna be gone in the 50s, 40s, 50s at the latest. I think he won't be there at 63. Um, so I like Leatherwood. I didn't. And every bit of Leatherwood that I've watched, he's always been at tackle, but apparently he's an interior guy. Do you know what happened there?
People, I think Leatherwood deserves a shot at tackle. I think
Yeah,
he can stick at tackle. I'm high on Leatherwood. I like him. I'm more worried about his hand usage than his feet. I think he's going to be
yeah,
and being able to kind of do vertical sets and move laterally at right tackle. That effectively ends your run at left tackle. Like that goes back to the Eichenberg thing though. People were kind Yeah, I don't know. I just don't think he's athletic enough. Like, can we talk about that for a
yeah,
second?
yeah.
What was going through like here, you stall for a little bit. I'm gonna try to find the full quote
Right.
because I think there's got to be more to that whole
I
conversation.
think what happened, honestly, is he was either well, this is what Jim Morris said to me when we had a conversation about it. He thought it was really odd that he would do that because Brian Kelly's not that guy to bury his players. He's usually a really players coach type of guy.
Yeah.
And the fact that he did that to Liam Eichenberg was kind of surprising. You're just like,
Hmm.
why would he say that? Like, he's not probably not as athletic to go from right tackle to left tackle or
Hmm.
to be a left tackle in the league. He can be a right away right tackle. It could have been taken out of context a little bit. Maybe he forgot he was talking to the media, right? Because that's something that you hear them say to coaches and scouts. You don't hear coaches say that to the media, which is all really weird. I'm not 100% sure what was going through his head when that happened, but did you find the quote?
Yeah,
There
I
you go.
did. It's here. It is. Those who are going to draft him are going probably not left tackle. If you're talking about that kind of athleticism, you can make the case that maybe he's not a left tackle. At the right tackle position, you plug him in and because he's going to be there every single day. So
Hmm.
of course, it was pulled that he said whatever.
Yeah.
So still, it's not great, but maybe he was being brutally honest. Maybe that's just how he feels about that guy. But he tested well. I think his 3-cone was like 7.47. That like he had a good pro day. Besides the arm length concerns, but I think he can be a left tackle. And like talked about, I was on 580 Sports Talk on Friday, and I talked about like the NFL, or at least its fans, like on Twitter and some scouts, they want to see guys fail at tackle before they even play in the NFL. And it's not like productive tackles grow on trees, like they don't just come out of the woodwork and say, oh, I'm an NFL ready tackler. I'm a passable NFL left tackle or right tackle or whatever. Give them a shot. Like you can move guys inward. A failed guard, you could try to play at center like a Kendrick Green. If that doesn't work out, just move him over. Has the skills to play guard, which most of them do. Just move him in. Like that doesn't mean he is a failed player. It means you have a really good guard. Like I'm trying to think of an example. Jackson Carman from Clemson. He has the short arms. He has pretty much everything else. Like not a great athlete, but such strong hands, like an iron grip. Some of the strongest in this class. Really forceful player. If he doesn't work at tackle, move him over. Like he's going to be a really, really good guard, but he could be a solid tackle. And you just have to weigh which one's more important. I think for a team like the Chiefs, they're going to take a solid tackle right now over a really good guard, because at left guard they're going to be set, and at right guard for this season at least they're going to be good to go.
For sure, I'm with you on that. And where was Brian Kelly at before he went to Notre Dame? I don't know off the top of my head. Okay.
I'm just trying to think. I was racking my brain for that one.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure where he was. But as you look that up, I'm going to answer this question from Gary Holland. He asked us, do you see the Chiefs drafting a tight end this year? I do see that. I think it's entirely possible. Tommy Trimble's a guy that we all really like at Roughing the Kicker. If you listen to the podcast, you know we like Tommy Trimble. Matt Bushman's a later round guy. I could see them pulling out. I think Zach Davidson is from UCM, the D2 tight end from Central Missouri. I think he could be a guy that the Chiefs explore and go after in the UDFAs. I do think that they are going to pick up another tight end, though. If you can get a guy like Tommy Trimble, really, if Brevin Jordan's there at 63 and they take him, I wouldn't be upset, right? It's one of those things you're just
interesting.
We're just like, no, that's fine. That's like a best player available type situation at 63. So if you get that, I'd be okay with that. I think it'd be interesting. Then Blake Bell goes from a so-so tight end 2 to a lower end tight end 2 to a higher tight end 3, and you start to look a whole lot better on that tight end situation now. But did you find where Brian Kelly was?
Yeah, he was at Cincinnati from 06 to 09.
That's right. Yep. Go Cats. Wait. 06, 09. No. That's not Travis Kelce, was it?
No.
Because Kelce would have been... He was drafted in 13?
2010, 10 to 13 or 10 to 12
so
or something like that.
He just missed Kelly then.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, interesting.
Did Tyler Sokin drop a question? I thought I saw one, but I closed out.
He did. He said if Denver gets a QB this draft, are they a bigger threat to KC than the perennial preseason juggernaut Chargers? And no. To simply put it, I think the Chargers. I actually really like what the Chargers did offseason. They did lose Sam Tevi, and they lost. I think they lost another offensive lineman, but they also gained like Corey Linsley and like Matt Filger. So I mean, like their offensive line's looking pretty good. Then they have the chance to draft either Darisaw or Slater in round 1. It's looking pretty darn good for the Chargers. It's always hard. It's always been hard for me to hate the Chargers for some reason. I don't know why. I
kind of like them.
I think I only, like, back in the day, I think I only didn't like him because of Phillip Rivers. And after Phillip Rivers left, I was like, I have no reason to hate this team. Because, what have they really done to the Chiefs, right? I mean, they haven't been a threat at all. Mm-hmm. They had that one game. Remember when they beat the Chiefs in overtime? Dude was wide open and 2-point.
I was at that game.
I wasn't think it was overtime. I think it was
game.
a very end of regulation, and it was a 2-point conversion or something like that.
Yeah, Mike Williams in the back right corner of the end zone or whatever. That was rough.
Dude, nobody was near him.
Yeah, I like the Chargers. I do. I mean, I thought about not saying it. I like them. I think Justin Herbert's dope. But Drew Lock is not dope. Well, actually, that might be the only thing about him. He might just be dope. That's about it. Like, he has swag and that he has a good arm.
Yeah.
Strong arm. Not an accurate arm. I mean, he's injury prone. He doesn't play the quarterback position well. And getting Cortland Sutton back and getting another full year in that system is going to be nice for him. He had some really good series last season, but like for a second-year quarterback, if you're counting on good series in games or like will come back, this guy's really good. A second-year quarterback who then took that leap in year 3. I don't see it from Drew Lock. Like, I don't think he's going to be good this season. I hope he does okay because I like him. I don't really care if the Broncos are good or bad. It doesn't really make a difference to me. Same thing for the Chargers. I mean, it's just kind of just watching the games and seeing how they unfold. But Justin Herbert's a really good quarterback. I can see the Chargers winning like 9-10 games, and I don't think Denver's going to do that. I could see the Raiders taking a step back. I could see the Broncos taking a step up. But what were they last season? 5-11, 6-10?
The Raiders or the
Broncos?
I think they're 5-11.
Yeah, so I could see them winning like 7 or 8 maybe, but I think the Chargers are going to up that by like the Chiefs should get the division again, I think. It's not going to be that competitive, but I think the Chargers, they should push for a playoff spot, especially with 17 games to play. I think if they don't go on a big losing streak, I think they won their last 4 last season, or at least their last 3. Like, they kind of figured it out towards the end. I think that's going to continue this season.
Yeah. It'll be interesting because I don't think the Chargers are going to be the same old Chargers. We like to always say, like, oh,
yeah,
Chargers are get the losing ways. I don't think that's going to be the case this next year.
But they're not the preseason Super Bowl favorites like some of the national media. Oh, the Chargers are AFC West are going to sleepwalk. Yeah, whatever.
Right. That's always a little bit of an overreaction. It always has been. And I don't understand why. I don't understand it. But, whatever. Moving on to the next question here. Should the Chiefs put cornerback Bo Peep Keys at nickel, Fitton and Snead outside, and Ward should be a backup CB because I'm tired of him getting beat by wide receiver? That didn't end up being a question there, buddy. Kansas City Chiefs. That ended up being you ranting about about Charvarius Ward.
That's a Dan Sorensen level kind of thing where like, is Ward good? No. He bad per se? I don't know. I don't think he's necessarily bad. I just don't think he's good. And like someone tweeted out, I can't remember who it was. It might have been one of the AP guys. It was probably Kent Swanson. He always has some really good tweets. Mm-hmm. Like, the sample size with Charvarius Ward keeps getting bigger, and the results in the sample, like the actual quality of the product, they don't. Like, they keep getting worse. And
right.
That's why people were worried about Snead. The Chiefs have been burned by numerous young, exciting corners who kind of stepped up for a few games, and Charvarius Ward was one of those guys. Granted, he was injured for part of last season. He had that hand injury or whatever. I still like him. I mean, I'm not counting on him to do much for the Chiefs. I think he's just going to be there, and he has length. He is a physical guy, good tackler. Now, the Chiefs have some damn good tackling corners. Dude, like, that doesn't mean a whole lot, but it does mean something. So, what was the initial question with that? I went on.
Well, remember, it didn't end up being a question because I'll read it verbatim here. You ready?
Okay.
Okay. Should the Chiefs put Bo Peep Keys at nickel, Fitton and Snead outside, and Ward should be a backup CB because I'm tired of him getting beat by wide receivers? So it started into a question. Then he said, Charvarius Ward should be a backup quarterback because, or cornerback because he gets burned.
I like L'Jarius Sneed no matter where he plays. I like
Right.
Rashad Fenton in the slot a fair amount. Um, I don't like Bo Peep Keys getting playing time this year, and that doesn't mean I don't like Bo Peep Keys, but I guess I shouldn't say any playing time. I just don't like Bo Peep Keys playing a significant role. Um, People are still relying on DeAndre Baker to be depth above Bo Peep Keys
Right.
too, even though he's coming off that injury. Like there are a lot of DeAndre Baker, not stands, but DeAndre Baker is coming back. Don't forget about that. Like the cornerback group is fine if they don't bring in a guy which roll with Snead, Ward, and Fenton as their three.
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with that, especially with Juan Thornhill coming back and being Juan Thornhill this season, and Dan Sorensen his depth, and maybe a draft pick who can play the slot cornerback role on occasion or box safety, whatever. Secondary is going to be fine. The defense, I don't know, is going to be that much better. Like I think the Jaron Reed thing does make the front four
Mm-hmm.
interesting on early downs, and then and dynamic, but is going to be in base as a run defense going consistent again. It's uncertainty there, but I think the Chiefs' cornerback group isn't in quite as bad of a position as they could be, or how the perception has been in recent years. Like, remember a year ago when the Chiefs were supposed to draft a cornerback in the first round? Because Pepperidge Farm remembers, and I remember that too.
Yep. We all remember that. I also, when it comes to the draft, I don't put a whole lot of stock in the Chiefs taking a corner early because Brett Veach has never done that.
Yeah,
So when we look at it and we see, okay, they could draft Greg Newsome or they could draft Trevon
I like Greg
Moehrig.
Newsome.
I like both of those guys, but the likelihood of them actually being drafted by the Kansas City Chiefs, I think, is lower than what we would want it to be just because of Brett Veach's past. Looking at the chat here, Quadruple D here said, I'm back. Popped a tire on the highway. Had to stop and fix it, but I'm back on the road and watching and hearing you guys now. Dog!
How did you?
You popped a tire and you Oh, you just put the spare on.
Flat on? Oh, okay,
You
okay,
probably put the spare on.
okay.
Well, drive too fast.
Yeah, don't drive over. I think it's 45 or 55.
Is it still
It
raining?
might be 65.
My window's closed.
Not where I'm at.
Yeah, you're kind of mid Kansas City on the Kansas side. I'm north, so
Yeah.
Gary Lezak told me yesterday it's supposed to rain until 4, and it's past 4, so it better not be raining. Well, I just watched the news. He didn't actually tell me specifically, but that's what I like.
Cool.
I like to think that Gary Lezak is talking to me when I watch the news, when I watch the weather.
Sign of a good weatherman.
Yeah, is he ever? Wait, let's see.
Oh,
here.
wait. I'm going to nerd out real quick.
Okay,
There's something that we learned in class. It's called parasocial interaction, as I'm looking at the questions here real quick. Oh, that's a good question from Gary Holland. But it was in media theory class, and I'm sure Tucker already knows this because he took a lot of college media classes, whatever. But parasocial interaction is like when we watch like TV shows and movies and stuff, and we build like unilateral relationships with the characters, and like we think they're our friends and we know them, but they have no clue who we are and like couldn't care less about what's going on. And like that happens with news personalities too. Like if we think Gary Lezak is our friend and Gary Lezak doesn't know who we are, then parasocial interaction in effect.
I know I've made it on Twitter once Gary Lezak follows me back. I've made that statement several times about my Twitter community, and I appreciate everyone following me on Twitter there. I did just make a tweet while you were talking a little bit ago about hopping on the stream, and I messed up, as I usually do on Twitter. I fat finger a lot of tweets, and I said corn join instead of come join. I said corn join, and KE15 at Veach is a god on Twitter. On my ass about it. I appreciate you keeping me honest.
Corn, I'm saving that. That's wonderful. Corn join.
Jordan, Holly wants to thank you for the psychology lesson, and I want to thank you for it as well because it was quite a treat.
That I attention in college a
Yeah.
little. I appreciate Holly tuning
Oh yes.
in. I'm looking at the.
Okay, so there's a couple questions here. I think we can breeze through that we got. Who's going to be the biggest reach in the first round? He says Mac Jones. I think it's gonna be somebody else. I don't think it'll be a quarterback. Man, I can't remember who it was. I saw a tweet that like somebody that we had thought it was going to be like a third round guy was going in the first round. It was like people were talking about him going in the first round. I can't remember who it was. This is bad radio, bad live streaming for me not to remember that. But
Well, I'm on the NFL mock draft database. Shout out to
yeah,
Denny, our sponsor for RTK Pod. I'm looking at his consensus mock right now, just trying to see if I can think of some guys, perhaps. Could be Kellen Mond. It could be Kyle Trask. Like, I'm not putting it past a team to take them in the first round. Do I think they're going in the first round? No. I think they're both like,
mm-hmm,
that's probably fair. In terms of grade,
yeah,
but teams do some wild stuff for some quarterbacks, man. Like straight up. And if they think that Kellen Mond is their guy because he's athletic enough, or Kyle Trask, like I don't know what his redeeming quality is as a quarterback. I'm just not a big Kyle Trask
yeah.
guy, but Kellen Mond has the athleticism. He threw a pretty football at his pro day, which that's going to change some teams' evaluation. Like I wouldn't be surprised if the Raiders drafted him in like the sixth, or if he was there and then said, "Oh, he threw a really good ball at his pro day. We're really excited to have him." That's just something the Raiders do. Like someone brought up the other day, man, I wish I could remember who it was. Was it you that said the Raiders just kind of look at big school names in the first round and say, "Oh yeah, let's."
I did
In.
not say that, but I could totally see that
Uh,
happening. Like, I mean, this. I
yeah,
mean,
someone just absolutely roasted their draft decisions.
Henry Ruggs. I mean, he
Yeah,
wasn't used phenomenally last year.
Damon Arnett,
Taman Arnett's a really good example.
Clelin Ferrell,
Wait, I
just
kind of
not
like him though.
not great.
I kind of like Clelin
The
Ferrell.
who would you pull from interdivision? He has potential. I don't mind him. He's okay.
Hmm.
Yeah,
You
it is
said
what.
Kellen Mond. Kellen Mond. Every time we talk about Kellen Mond, I need to bring up that he is the Senior Bowl MVP. You should not disrespect him. Um,
No, I like Kellen Mond.
and also Kyle Trask is hot garbage because when I was watching some Stone Forsythe, it was tough to watch Stone Forsythe because Kyle Trask kept turning the ball over. Um,
He's not very
no,
good.
he's bad. I'll go as far as say he's bad. I don't know how Mizzou lost him so many times, but they did. Um, because and they just bring in another quarterback and he would like get the drive going and then they just bring in Kyle Trask again after the drive is over. I'd be like, what are you doing? Um, but anyway, I watched some of his play last year in
Hmm.
the they play the Cotton Bowl against OU. I think,
Yes.
dude, Kyle Trask had a terrible game. He threw like 4 interceptions in the first half. Um, Stone Forsythe didn't play terrible. I know a lot of people like Stone Forsythe. I can see why he hadn't been talked about a whole lot until now. I think he's got some long arms, like 35-inch arms, right? Um,
Yeah.
but for having 35-inch arms, he lets guys get into his body a whole lot. He doesn't really have a punch. He lacks
Hmm.
that je ne sais quoi you want from a lineman, right? And you can kind of
You've
see,
been using that a lot lately.
hey, you know, it's a good phrase to use when you have no idea what you're talking about. So
Fair.
when you can't think of anything, I just say je ne sais quoi. It's turning into my crutch phrase. But everyone has one. But okay, let me go back to the chat here. Where were we at? We were at Chase. Jermaine said, "Would you rather draft Carlos Basham Jr. or Ronnie Perkins?" Probably Boogie for me.
Yeah, I'd say Boogie. I mean, he's interesting. Like you could make an argument that Boogie should bulk up. I don't know
Mm,
what he weighed in at his recent measurement or
okay.
whatever. But yeah, okay. I he you could make the argument that he's high and he could bulk up and just bull rush the heck out of people. I think I have to choose my words carefully because I don't want to like sell him short as a player. He's a guy that could set a quality edge in run defense and move inside on third downs, which would be an interesting plan. I think the Chiefs could use someone like that and then maybe concede to a Taco Charlton on third down or another rookie pass rusher. Like, this obviously wouldn't happen, but just for an example's sake, if the Chiefs took Jason Oweh in the first round and then took Boogie Basham in round 2, Boogie could be that guy on second down. Then on third and long, Oweh could come in, kind of use his pass rush chops while Boogie went to the inside. But then you have the whole Jaron Reed, Chris Jones thing. So
Yep.
then I don't know about his fit. I like Boogie. I don't know. He's fine. I mean, it wouldn't be a bad pick by the Chiefs, but I need to add him to the report because I haven't. But I think it's Boogie just because of the stuff that he can do and you know what you're going to get with him, and it's a sound football player.
I think so too. I just looked up Boogie's measurements: 6'3",
Mm-hmm.
274, 32 point.
Okay, so he did lose
Yeah,
a
he
little.
lost a little, and
Okay.
32.875 arms. Little short for Spags on the arm side. Um,
Yeah.
but, and we had this conversation about Jason Oweh, I think, in our Discord. Um, and with him and Aziz Ojolari. I think Wade is. I also had this conversation with Ken Swanson too. I think Wade is kind of the one where it's like okay if you're short on, right? Because you can bulk up,
Yeah.
but like also, is that as high as they can go? Like is that their limit? Like it's
Yeah.
like a you could try to bulk up, or that's your limit, you know?
Like a Jordan Smith. He looked like he bulked up. He measured like he bulked up. Then he didn't test well at all. Like,
Yeah.
there's a balance between, oh, he can bulk up and get better at setting the edge and playing run defense and being stronger, or he's going to lose his speed rush, a ton of stock or like full faith in those workouts and stuff, because Paris
Mm-hmm.
Ford's a perfect example. I'm going to continue bringing him up
Yeah.
because he had such a bad workout and I have to keep defending him. But the concerns about him showed up. Like, he bulked up and it didn't work or didn't seem to.
Right.
And he's a guy that wins on speed. He doesn't, for an edge guy, 4-3 out or 4-3 defensive end. I don't know, 3-4 outside linebacker. I think so. But now that he's not as fast, he's trying to be a 4-3 end and be versatile. That's tough, man. I feel for those guys that are tweeners, so to say, and like try to lose weight or bulk up. But you can't put them in the taffy puller and make their arms longer.
Yep.
You can't make them taller. You can add and shed weight, and there are a bunch of guys that have lost a ton of weight throughout, like wide receivers turned edge or tight end. Valuable. I forgot what the question was initially. No.
I think we just went off on something because I was talking about
Oh, okay.
him. Holly suggests that we do a little 5 minute mock draft, and I don't hate that idea. I'll throw one up. I'll get a scene set up that we can flip to, so get people to see it on the stream. But I'll ask you this. I'll let you answer this question while I get this all set up. Um, how do you feel about Byron Pringle this year?
I really like Byron Pringle for what he is, and the importance is. Um, I saw something pop up on my phone real quick. I like Byron Pringle. I think that so many opportunities. Like, last year, I forget when exactly it was. Maybe like week 6 or something. I don't know if Watkins was hurt by then or not. Me and Connor were like, Byron Pringle for X. Just try it out and see what happens. And the Chiefs they wouldn't crack. Like, they wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
The Chiefs know what they're doing. So, but I love seeing them because I just like being
Yeah. for it. Mm-hmm.
It's just he doesn't have the size, ability, separation.
Yeah, I'm right there with you with McCole Hardman, and I mentioned this. I kind of got there's some comments on our YouTube videos about me saying that they're like, oh, McCole Hardman sucks. Like, why would you think that McCole Hardman would actually be a comeback player to watch? Like, dude, just like let me be optimistic about him. I'm trying. I I really want to believe that he's still got something left in the tank. Maybe this year he can get a little bit more targets. He can learn those underneath routes a little bit more. That would be big if he could do that, because I think that once he does that, a lot of stuff opens up for him at that point. Once he figures those out. Okay, Jordan, I think I figured it out, but go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Hmm? Oh. Oh, okay. We are, aren't we? That's odd. Well, let me look at this here. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain a smooth streaming. As such, viewers will receive buffering. Okay, interesting. So, what we'll do is I will not sure how to fix this. Hey, you know what? It's a good thing we're doing this stream right now to kind of figure all of this stuff out once we want to do the big one. The big one for the draft. We got to know this stuff. Got to know what is going on. Okay, Jordan, it looks like for a second here, it looks like to me that you should now be unfrozen. On my end, I should say. On my end, you are unfrozen, and I had to resize you. I'm still getting a poor...
Yeah.
But I'm hearing it's just you, too. That's too bad. Nobody wants to hear me just talk about myself.
Yeah, I don't... Oh, we're, guys for a second.
Yeah.
This is weird.
It is weird. I need to poke around with some more settings on OBS. Yeah. I don't know why. Okay, cool. Cool.
And kind of going. Kind of now, too.
Yeah. I don't know why it's doing that.
This is why we do stuff like this, which is okay.
This is only the second time that we've ever streamed ever. Jordan, is this the first time you've ever streamed in your life?
Yeah, my brother used to do like Twitch stuff, and like I would pop in on his, but I've never actually sat down and like set any of that stuff up. I'm not smart enough to
Yeah,
do
well, this
that.
is only like the second time I've actually done a broadcast on OBS. So I mean, the fact
Sure.
that we've gotten this far um, is a little impressive. So
Yeah.
Jordan and I will hop on for a little bit. It's 5, so we could go probably till 5:30 or however long the chat takes us. We probably got some people. People probably left because of our technical difficulties, which I don't blame you. Um,
We're at 14 and it's going back again. Go.
cool, cool. Um, so if you guys got any questions, it doesn't have to be about the Chiefs. I feel like we've talked a lot about the Chiefs. That's kind of what we do, but you can ask us.
Okay, we should be back.
I think
Yep.
I think Liam asked us about the Masters very early on, but then it got quickly buried by Chiefs questions. So who do you
Yes.
think's going to win the Masters, Jordan?
Let me peep the leaderboard real quick. I believe play was suspended earlier and now it has been resumed. It's not loading on my laptop, so I'll just go through my phone. I picked JT to win. I've really been following golf very closely over the past year or so, which is a lot of fun. And right now we have Matsuyama, the young kid Zalatoris, pronounce his name, and then Rose all tied
Mm,
at 7 under, and then Xander, Connors, Spieth. JT is down to 4 under, which he was climbing. He was at second place when I was at work watching it, and now he's, I think it said tied fifth or tied seventh or whatever.
yeah.
So, man, you just have to be in a good spot. Like, you can't win on the first day, you can't win on the second day, you can't win on the third day, but you can lose on any of those days, and you can put yourself in a good position those days. So, if you're within 5 shots of the leader, or even 6 or 7. Like if they collapse and you have a good day, you don't even have to play 7 under golf. Crazy. You just have to be
Right.
consistent. I think I was interested to see what Bryson did on that course. That those are birdie opportunities for Bryson, because that dude can drive the ball longer than anybody on the tour right now, pretty much. On if he really tried to. So his thing is putting,
Right.
and like there were reports, so you can tell because the greens are brown, ish, that the greens were really firm. So then I was like, well, Bryson's going to get screwed because he can't putt
Yeah.
or whatever because he just puts too much on it and isn't focused enough. So the guys who are really technical, I think, are doing well. Kind of just play their brand of golf. Like I really would have liked to see Tiger in it
Mm-hmm.
this year. I mean, that's always a better draw for the casual golf fan and the really diehard golf fan. But I think JT is going to end up pulling it off tomorrow.
Hasn't it been Spieth that always has like the epic collapses? He was a couple times that
McIlroy.
McIlroy. Yes.
That's my favorite guy, and he missed the cut.
Oh,
So
yeah. I think, man, I really thought Jordan Spieth one time where he like chunked 3 into the water or something like that. I can't remember on what hole.
yeah. And he's within contention right now. He's
Yeah.
tied fourth.
I've always liked Spieth.
Yeah.
But like golf is one of those things where like you could win. Well, Tiger Woods really is the only golfer to ever be like consistently winning tournaments, which is like
Yeah.
insane to think about. But but when you look at that, I think that Spieth was to that level, but he couldn't maintain it the same way that Tiger could. I kind of want to
Yeah.
see Jordan Spieth like win tournaments again. I think it'd be fun to see Jordan Spieth win this one. I'm always gonna pull for him. My guy's actually Jason Day. I
like
do
him.
too. I went to the U.S. Open actually in 2016 out in Oakmont. It was very, very beautiful course. Went to the Sunday, so that was when Derek Johnson on the 18th. I don't know if you remember that at Oakmont.
Yeah.
Put that boom right on the pin. Oh yeah, great shot. I was following that group around that day.
Very
So
cool.
it was a really cool experience. All right, Pie Desert.
How about
Okay,
this?
were you gonna read that one? Read that comment I was gonna say.
Quickly. Yeah, no, quickly. I was going to read off some of these prices at the Masters for food.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Do it. Yep.
Here are the sandwiches: egg salad, $1.50; pimento cheese, $1.50; barbecue, $3; Masters Club, $2.50; grilled chicken wrap, $3; coffee is $1.50, sausage biscuits $1.50. Like, rich people are going to the Masters and spending like $5 for breakfast. You go to the Royals game, all income ranges go. You're spending $7.50 for a beer and another $7.50 for a hot dog, and you'll get the combo for like $14.25 or whatever. Like, there's got to be a balance,
Yeah.
and I understand the economics of it, and you have to make money somewhere, blah 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 blah. But getting away with charging $2, I mean, for stuff like that. So I just thought it was interesting that everything is super affordable, and you would expect, like, at Augusta there to be something extremely expensive. Maybe the pro shop kind of has the expensive
Yeah.
merch for $50 a t-shirt or whatever, but I just was kind of hungry thinking about that, so that's why I brought it up.
Yeah, it is interesting. I think Atlanta does this. The Falcons at their stadium, they have
Yeah.
the cheapest concessions. Like Arthur Blanca said that he wants to always have the cheapest concessions, um,
Hmm.
in the NFL, and they've done that. Their Chick-fil-A also in the stadium is closed on Sundays too, which is kind of funny. Um, but yeah, those prices are crazy indeed.
Yeah.
Pie Desert asks, who wins the AFC South? Been a competitive division and have faced multiple opponents from that division in the playoffs. I think the Colts will.
I think the Colts will too. Like, I don't believe in Carson Wentz necessarily, but I believe in him doing enough to do well. The Texans, obviously, I don't even want to talk about that. With the whole. That's all I'm going to say about the Texans. I really don't even want to get into that. The Titans, I think they're going to take a step back, and that doesn't mean they're going to be bad, but I don't think they're going to get back to the AFC Championship with the core that they have right now. Like, I keep saying it about them. Tannehill a lot. At the end of these games, like to the AFC Championship, all the commentators, oh, this team's going to be back. They're young and hungry, blah, blah, blah. Like, you can tell right off the bat they're not going to be back. And Tennessee had a shot to do that with a deep playoff run. I just don't really buy into them. I think if your best player is a running back, you're not going to get it done.
Right.
Like, there's just something about the balance of the football gods where if your best player is a running back in the modern NFL, you're not going to win a Super Bowl. Like, guys like Damian Williams are finding ways to go off. LeGarrette Blount was the leading rusher in like 3 of those during the Patriots-Eagles run or whatever. So um, I think it's the Colts. I mean, Trevor Lawrence and the Jags are going to be much better than they were a year ago. Lawrence obviously coming in as a rookie. I think they could win like 5 or 6 games. They're built well in the trenches. I think that they're going to do some good stuff with Wentz, and he's going to want those. What was the pick stipulation? Like, if he plays 75%
Or
of the
they make the
snaps
playoffs.
or makes the playoffs, it becomes a conditional first or
Mhm.
whatever. That's interesting.
Yeah. Um, it's gonna be a first round pick. You'd have to
Yeah,
think so.
I think so too.
Um, so that's all really, really interesting there with the Colts, and I like them. Even though Anthony Costanzo did retire, they're still looking for a left tackle.
Mhm.
They've got Quentin Nelson, who's an absolute stud. I mean,
It's pretty good.
that dude is a mauler. Love that guy, and they got T.Y. Hilton back. They got Xavier Rhodes back, if I remember right. They got somebody else from their
Yes.
secondary back too. So they're gonna be good. I think that
Yeah.
they'll be good. Texans are the Texans. Jags are going to be in the first year of the Urban Meyer experience,
Yeah.
and the Trevor Lawrence experience. Maybe that goes well. Maybe it doesn't. We don't know. So I think that the safe pick right now is the Colts. Gary Holland asked us, "Do you guys see Michael Taylor for the Royals becoming an All-Star?" I'd love to see that. Michael A. Taylor, baby. Jordan doesn't like Michael A. Taylor as much as I do.
I was a little irritated when the Royals signed him just because it was all like potential with him. And I think the dude's like 28 years old. I could be a year off either way on that. But he seems like a really great guy. The team loves him. I mean, he's played great defense so far. The bat has been fantastic. Like, if everything goes right for him, he has the raw talent to where he's going to be a really good player for years to come. That's just something that is hard to rely on for a guy like that like breaking
Mm-hmm.
thing that you don't see very often. But then again, Hunter Dozier came up kind of late and broke out. Like the Royals have some guys who put it together somewhat close to 30, like within 3 or 4 years of 30, or I guess with Witt, he was 20. Yeah, within 4 years. So not everyone has to be 23 and haven't figured out, or 24. Nicky Lopez, I think, just turned 26, and that's my dude. Like he's hitting a pretty decent clip this season last time I checked, but it's been like what 10 games, I think, if that, maybe 8.
6 this season.
It's been 6.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's been 6 games this season. Yeah, they're 3-3.
Okay, yeah. So it hasn't. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there's you take everything with a grain of salt. Like you just can't buy in too much. Like if Michael A. Taylor keeps up what he's doing right now, he's an MVP candidate. Speaking of which, Mike Trout, his I think it's weighted runs created plus WRC plus. It's 285 and like 100 is average depending on the position. He has been far and away the best player in baseball, but if he keeps it up, he can be an all-star. I mean, I just don't know if Taylor's going to keep it up, but he had a really good spring, and the Royals seem to be saying all the right stuff about him, so he's been really impressive.
It's been kind of a roller coaster of emotions with the Royals so far this season. I know we're only 6 games into it. We're 3-3, but you think about what has happened. Like, you start off the first 2 games and you score, 30 runs in 2 games? Something crazy like that. And then, I don't know how many, they haven't scored very many runs since. And they've looked kind of lost at the plate in some situations. Carlos Santana hasn't hit very well. Andrew Benintendi hasn't been playing all that well. So, I don't know. I think they're a 500 ball club. I do.
Yeah.
I think they'll get to 500 this year. And I think that's a marked improvement. And their lineup, when all fire on all cylinders, is solid. They can hit up there with the best of them. I think that they can bring in runs, and we've seen them bring in runs. Pitching, I'm a little worried about when it comes to Brad Keller, him having 2 bad outings. But Alec Lewis yesterday on Almost Entirely Sports brought up a really good point. He said that, Brad Keller's 2 outings have been kind of high-intensity outings when you think about he had the Royals opening day, and then it was Chicago's opening day when he pitched against them, and he kind of got shelled up a little bit too. So he is a young guy. That could have got to him, the intensity, the pressure of that. So maybe once we get back into the season, he'll start to settle back in. I'd like to see him start to settle back in. But it's weird that they can't say like that Matheny hasn't said, that's what's wrong with him. That's like they don't know what's going on. They're like, he's just not, getting into it.
I have something I want to say about Brad Keller, but I don't know if I should say it or not. Should I just say it? I think Brad Keller's hurt. Like, I think Brad Keller's going to get shut down for a while here in the next few weeks. And I have absolutely, like, no one clipped that. I have no knowledge. No one has told me that. Like, just, I have a bad feeling about Brad Keller.
Yeah.
Like, he was pumping 97 in his first start, and, like, I get that he could have been amped up, but that guy's been nails. Like, he's had bigger outings than that, per se. I mean, or, like, equally intense. Maybe fans back in the ballpark, whatever. He couldn't locate well. He wasn't throwing his slider much at all, which I was like, that's kind of weird. Then the next outing, he was kind of experimenting with the slider again. It was getting tagged.
Right.
His second start, I believe, got pushed back after he threw like 51 pitches on opening day. So really early, he didn't throw like 100+ pitches. Something's off.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what it is. Like, it could be that he was just riled up or didn't have the best offseason or is trying something new with his mechanics or delivery, or he just isn't in a good headspace after a rough first outing. But, man, it would not surprise me if he was hurt. And, like, I really, really hope that's not the case because I love Brad Keller. He's one of my favorite pitchers in the game of baseball right now just because he's so solid. I think that's really the surprise. Like, you know what you're going to get. You're going to get 6 decent innings from Brad Keller, like 6 innings, 3 earned runs, or 5 and 2 or whatever. Just weird.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
I think Alec also made this point on Josh's show. It's weird that they pushed his start back, as you mentioned, after 51 pitches on opening day.
Yeah.
They also pushed it back from Cleveland's lineup to the White Sox lineup, which is very different. Maybe he could have gained some confidence with Cleveland's lineup in that day that, you know, the one guy that the Royals couldn't let them get beat them, right? He hit two home runs. I can't even think of his name right now. Ramirez?
Sure. Yeah.
Dude's good, but anyway, that game was frustrating. Juniors pitched really well, but that was a bullpen day. Bullpen did what they needed to do until, you know, the home runs. But so yeah, quadruple D here. He asked us, we need Paxton Lynch to be our quarterback. LMAO. No.
I'll pass. Yeah, I saw a video of him the other day. He was throwing a good football.
Wait, he was having a pro day?
I think so. It wasn't at a combine. No, it might have been the combine.
Huh.
It was a like Facebook memory or whatever, like a flashback from NFL Network. It wasn't like, oh, Paxton Lynch is having a pro day at age. He's probably close to 30 right now. You think?
Gotta be. I thought that you said like he was trying to get back into like the league. No. He's not in the league, right? Like I'm not wrong by saying that.
I don't believe so.
Okay, I didn't think I was wrong in saying that, but yeah, I was like, what?
Who was that rookie that was like almost 30? Brandon Whedon was like 27, wasn't he?
From Oklahoma State, yeah.
Yeah, and then he went to the Browns, right?
Mm-hmm.
Browns have been through some quarterbacks.
You know that like Browns quarterback jersey they updated it for a while before Baker.
Yeah.
And maybe I think they had another starting quarterback after Baker before they really decided on Baker.
It was Tyrod Taylor. That's who Baker came in for.
Tyrod Taylor, man.
What do you think of Baker?
I feel bad for the guy, or for Tyrod Taylor, not for Baker.
Yeah.
But I like Baker. I have no reason to hate Baker Mayfield.
I'd say he's a good quarterback. I don't think he's great. I don't think he's average. I think he's just a good quarterback. And obviously with that line, that running game, that defense, it's hard to mess up. Like, they have really Baker quite a bit, but I think, like, I tweeted before the season opener last season, like, Stefanski needs to know his quarterback, and that's not a bad thing, meaning he's bad. It was a bad thing, meaning he was limited, and he needed to limit mistakes, and he kept getting like, you could see week by week Baker was getting smarter and making better plays. Then Odell got hurt, and it seemed to be almost like a blessing in disguise. Like, they looked a lot better without Odell there, which was interesting. Yeah. Obviously, you kind of want to see that work because he's such a talented player. But Baker, man, he put that team on his back quite a few times. Like, I'm a believer in him. I think he's going to be better than he was last season, and he was pretty good last season.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that the Browns are going to be a pretty solid team, and they could win that. That AFC North is going to be a tough one with the Ravens, the Steelers, the Browns. Yeah. And then you have who's the fourth team in there?
Cincinnati. I think they'll be a 500-ish team. Dude, I'm a Joe Burrow dude.
I like Joe Burrow too, but I just want to read this comment from Chase here. He said Tyrod Taylor has been getting a raw deal. I totally agree with that. Tyrod Taylor has not gotten a fair shake in the NFL. Same thing with Josh Rosen. Same thing with who was I thinking of? Oh dang, there's another one who hasn't gotten a fair shake. Taco Charlton. Taco has not gotten a fair shake. But yeah, no, I agree with that.
Tyrod, that's facts.
The dude was the starting quarterback until he got literally shot in the lung.
Yeah.
I mean, how does that happen?
You know who I feel bad for more than really any other quarterback over the past, 10 years or so?
Let me try to guess, okay? Sam Darnold.
RG3.
Oh, yeah. That's kind of rough.
He and so he was a good pocket passer. He had the arm strength. He could run. I just feel bad for him. And I am glad Cam is back. Weapons. going to run to be interesting. But some quarterbacks are just thrown to the wayside. RG3 was one of them. I mean, he hasn't been good since he got all those injuries, and it sucks. That's part of the game, unfortunately. Like Shanahan, because you do well. But it was I get goosebumps in a bad way every time I see that video of him, his knee.
Yeah. Okay. We got a couple questions here. We're gonna stay for about 10 more minutes. Let's see. Can't see Chiefs Act. Do you think Jordan Thomas should be a QB2? Very young and has arm talent. I think he should be a QB2 in this league. I don't know if he should be a QB2 for the Chiefs, if that makes sense. I think that he is a good quarterback. Yep. He will always be a St. Louis Battlehawk for life. He'll be the St. Louis Battlehawk MVP, man. That dude tore it up for a little bit. Him and, who was that? The PJ,
PJ.
I want to say PJ Tucker. I was
going to say PJ Tucker, but PJ Tucker is clearly an NBA player. Yeah. PJ, didn't he play for the Panthers a game last year?
Golly, what was his name?
Yeah, just Google like PJ Panthers and then see what pops up.
He played for Houston, didn't he? PJ.
And it's going to be like an oh duh moment once you say his name. It's like, it's a really common name, I think, like PJ Wilson or PJ Walker. Yeah, I knew it was a W type thing. So, yeah, that's good football, dude.
Yeah, dude. Okay, here's the thing. I really like the XFL. I enjoyed it. I think the NFL would benefit from a complementary league like the minor league system if they use the XFL like that. Or I know that the XFL is having a deal with like the Canadian Football League. Shout out Chase for commenting. PJ Walker, appreciate you. But I think that if they work out a deal, the NFL has to realize that they're not in competition with literally anybody. There's no competition for the NFL. And that's, I don't know if you guys have watched that one 30 for 30. I can't remember what it was called. Small Potatoes. About the...
you know all of them.
Yeah, I do. About the USFL, when Donald Trump basically bought it and ran it into the ground. Surprised. But they talk about how, like, he wanted to compete with the NFL, and, like, he wanted the fall spots. And you just can't do that. Like, that's just not a thing to happen. Yeah. And spring football would be really good to have in my life. We're going to get into CFL season here, and I'm a Toronto Argonauts fan because they decided to sign every Mizzou player ever. I think they signed Shane Ray and Kelly Bryant. And they have Kelly Bryant's cousin on the team, too. So that team is now my favorite team. Go Argos. You can catch me. If they want to send me to one of their games, I will go to them. Okay, let's see here. Out of the two free agent tackles, Villanueva, Okung, who do you think we get, and who will be the cheapest option? Who will be the best option? Okay, quickly, Okung will be the cheapest option. What's holding Villanueva up is money. That's what it is. Money, terms, years. I can't remember who said that, but I heard it on the radio. Somebody on ESPN said it, and they were talking about it on 810. I wish I could remember who it was so I could give proper credit out to it. But that's not me. That's not original reporting by me. I just want that to be clear. And I think Villanueva...
Tucker Franklin just broke news about that.
Stop it. I think Villanueva would be the best one, too. And I think Okung would be the cheapest just because of his injury history. What is the other part of that question there? Who would be the best option? Villanueva. Do you have any other answers than that?
No, I agree. Didn't Okung convert half of his base salary to Bitcoin and then make like 1.4 million off of it?
He's the richest NFL player right now. He is. Because of it. Yeah,
like that. That's so cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, shout out him figuring that out. Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is such like a foreign language to me. I tried to figure it out in college because that first little Bitcoin boom was like, I don't remember how old I was. I was in college though. And I was like, okay, I'm going to get into Bitcoin. But, like, I tried to buy it at the boom, and it was like, you get 0.00001 Bitcoin for $100. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to do that. But, like, people who, like, got into Bitcoin at the right time and then, like, had the boom and then sold it, they're living fine right now. I tell you what. Cryptocurrency, something I can't understand. I don't think my brain will ever be able to understand it. We got so like 5 more minutes here. If you guys want to ask us any more questions, we will take all of your questions, no matter how you ask them or what you want us to talk about or what they're about. Yeah. Quickly though, I bought an LED light for my background. Can you see it? Can you see it back there?
Wow.
Look at this.
That's pretty dope.
Remote control, red.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's what I did today. And I was going to be a total streamer and like put it in the background. Wasn't bright enough. There's green.
Mhm.
There's blue. Yeah. So like if I was turning my lights off, you couldn't really see it.
Yeah.
Because I want like a different like streaming setup and I want like a podcast setup.
Sure.
So it's like, day mode, night mode type thing.
Yeah.
Didn't you have some lights back behind you there for a little bit?
Yeah, I did. I moved them to under my TV, so now I have a light strip around the TV that plugs into the USB port, and then I have makes it look really freaking cool.
Gotcha.
Oh, I got some LEDs for my car. Dude, they're so dope.
Oh, like
They're so freaking dope. The strips, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you could tell what I was talking about by just doing this.
I knew exactly what it was.
Yeah, you guys like that? I see streamer mode in the chat. Thanks, Holly, for thinking my LEDs are cool. Yeah, I'll flip off my lights here real quick, and then we can go, and then we can see. You're gonna see my bed. You're gonna see the hot sausages made right here. Oh yeah! Look at that!
Oh yeah. That's pretty cool.
Why isn't anybody talking about Grant Stewart from Houston? I don't know. Because he's probably a 6th-round guy. That's probably why.
I don't really care for Grant Stewart. I'm not a big Grant Stewart guy.
Hey, you know what?
I don't want to really elaborate. It's not very big on Grant Stewart.
We can't be big on everybody, right? We can't. We can't be big on everybody. Dude, this is total streamer mode right now. I'm going to open the grill of my camera.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, look at that!
You're just missing G Fuel.
I already drank my G Fuel today. Thank you, Holly. It is a great vibe. I should have started off like it. I didn't think you could see it that well.
Yeah, no, it makes a huge difference.
This is a vibe. Thank you, Pie Desert. This is a vibe, for sure. Oh, I should have got those rope lights, that go around like the border.
Hey.
What's up?
Yes, and speaking of Pie Desert, he said Houston's got some interesting talent. Can I interest you in Peyton Turner, Tucker? Because I can interest myself in Peyton Turner.
Yes,
for sure.
sir. Go ahead.
He measured very well. Him and Joe Tryon, I think, are like tier 2-ish guys that like if the Chiefs want a Tryon's more of a raw guy where he has the tools, but he needs to. I see you flexing the light. He needs to put them together and use them. And Turner's like a stronger guy who just has all the measurables. He is a Spags defensive end through and through. I think both of them would be really good, like 2nd round, or even if they fell to the 3rd. I think that Tryon's going to be a 2nd round guy. I think I put a 3rd round grade on both of them. It's been a while. They were like really early scout, but now that the measurements have come out, I like them even more than I did before.
I like Peyton Turner too. We've taken him in our mock draft. He checks all the boxes for a Spagsy type edge, and you mentioned he did test really well. Holly, appreciate you joining us. Thank you for joining in. I do think I gotta get another one of these lights. Pie Desert makes a really good point. I need one over here on this shoulder. I got this at Target for $17.99. The Energizer light. There was 2 there. I should have just bought the other one. I thought about buying both of them, but I didn't. It is 5:30. Appreciate you guys joining us. Let's see if we got any last questions here. How much money do I think Villanueva is asking for? I don't know. I'm bad at contract numbers and guessing how much people are asking for. And Kansas City Chiefs asks, do you watch Kansas City Chiefs report with Harrison Graham man? Or RGR football? I've watched a little bit of RGR football. I am friends with Holy cow, this makes me look like I'm not friends with him because I can't think of his name.
Ryan Tracy.
Yes, Ryan Tracy.
Or Danny Dimes.
Both, man. I do know those guys. I think they do phenomenal stuff there. Ryan Tracy has made videos for Arrowhead Report as well. You can find some of those on our channel. That is cool. We have been to a Chiefs game. Jordan and I have both been to. Whoa! Did you see that?
Yeah, that was pretty dope.
I don't know how that happened. The rest of the stream is just gonna be me playing with this light.
That was dope.
This is a fade. Dude, I should have had this on so much. Well, probably not. I shouldn't have had it on sooner because I'm just playing with the light now. But this is what the stream has come to. Jordan, I appreciate you joining me for the stream. We should probably wrap it up before I get myself in trouble, I guess.
Yeah, that sounds good, man. I have a Benjamin St. Just scout to write up here in a little
Yes.
bit. That'll be dropping on Twitter. So day 80, 83, I think. Like, dude, it's getting pretty ridiculous. Maybe day 82. I'm not quite sure.
Regardless, it's a long time. Appreciate you joining me, Jordan. Let's do this again. You know what? I might hop on in the middle of the week sometime. I'll let you guys know on Twitter. Maybe by myself. Maybe Jordan will join me. I don't know. If I get some work done early, might hop on. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe I'll hop on tomorrow. Who knows? I'll let you guys know what I'm feeling because I got to get some kinks worked out with the video settings. There's something going on here that I got to get worked out. So I'll do that. Shout out Buffalo Room, downtown Lee Summit. Go check it out. Got my merch on. So any final thoughts, Jordan?
No, man. Thank you to anyone who tuned in.
Yes, sir.
That really does mean a lot, and it's been a good time. So we'll get some stuff figured out. I mean, this was a really good stream, but I think if we can get everything ironed out completely before the draft over these next couple weeks and maybe get some stuff going, then it'll be even better.
Could have said it better myself. So, guys, appreciate you joining us. And until next time, I'll talk to you again. On Monday, we got Mark Van Sickle. Got Mondays with Mark. Going over the draft classes of 2019-2020, studs or duds. Until then, I'll talk to you guys on Monday.